So, welcome to your session this evening. We are going to be continuing our deep dive exploration of our warrior poses. We have done Warrior 1. So this evening we will be exploring the pose of Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana. Virabhadrasana meaning warrior. So, a little bit off center there. So, that's what we're going to be doing. And we are going to start off our session today by being on the floor. And just allow yourself to get comfortable. Just see if you can sit with your legs crossed or with one leg in front of the other. Just because we're working on a little bit of hip opening today. So it would just be good to see how you're feeling in this position. If you need a brick or a block or anything underneath your hips, like a little cushion, for example, just place it under the hips to allow your hip flexors to turn off a little bit. And sometimes that can help legs and the knees to come out further. Just see if you can do this. If it's not feeling that comfortable for you, come into Baddha Konasana, which is your feet, soles together, and then allow your knees to drop out and down. Again, with a slightly raised pelvis, you might find it a little bit more comfortable. So wherever you are, just allow yourself to settle into the moment, into the present. Maybe bringing your hands somewhere onto your body, maybe onto your knees, one onto the belly, one onto the heart, whatever feels best for you. And closing the eyes down if you can, or just allowing the gaze to be soft. And focusing on your body, here and now, in this space. Noticing how it feels. Perhaps bringing forth anything that you've noticed in your body today, during the course of the day. Perhaps there might be some aches, pains, tension, some fluidity, some openness. Just allowing whatever comes into your mind when you do this sort of explorative conversation and question with the body, just allowing whatever comes up to be there. Acknowledge it. And then bringing your awareness down into your hips, maybe even bringing your hands there. And I'm talking about sort of the hip creases, so where the top of your leg starts. And just drawing the awareness to this place, seeing if there is any specific sensation you might be experiencing. Maybe thoughts come up into your mind, maybe feelings, emotions come up into your mind when you bring your awareness to this area. Again, just acknowledging, noticing, and allowing them to just pass through you. You don't have to act on them at all, just allowing yourself to be more present with the body. And then when you're ready, let's take an inhale. Draw those arms all the way up above your head. Bring the palms together, and then as you exhale, draw the hands down to the center line, down to your heart. Take that a couple of times, just warming up the arms, reaching out as wide as you possibly can, and then really igniting the shoulders by pressing the palms together as you draw them down. Inhaling, taking those arms really wide. Palms together, pressing down. And then inhale, draw the arms out as wide as you can. Bring the elbows behind you. Take the shoulder blades almost like they're going to touch behind the top of your back. Take a nice deep breath in. And then exhale, wrap your arms around you. Doesn't matter which arm is on top. Seeing if you can walk your fingers round the sides of your shoulders. Maybe even nestling the head into your arms. And just finding a bit of space between the shoulder blades here. Inhaling, reaching out, opening up the arms. We hold our arms at shoulder height, open and with an open chest in our warrior two. So just opening this up and warming this up. Exhale, cross the other arm on top of the other compared to last time. So swapping the arms and giving yourself a hug. Taking that twice more, once on each side, inhaling, opening, really allowing that chest to fall forwards and open as much as you can. Exhale, bringing it in. Again, swapping the arms over. And then inhaling out. And exhaling in. So it's kind of a bit of a cat and cow movement in a way here. Inhale, let's draw those arms around and up once again. Exhale, hands to heart. Now, if you are in cross-legged or Baddha Konasana, then bring your left leg out to the side and allow your right leg just to sort of soften down, the foot to relax. So we're in this elongated position on one leg and a bent knee on the other leg. Our hands are pressed together. We're going to take a deep breath in, lift up tall, and find a little bit of activation in the belly here and in the ribs and in the side of the waist. As you exhale, take a little side bend over towards that extended leg. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, bending over to the side. So we're opening up into the lower back here. You might find sensation there, and you probably feel some sensation down the inside of that leg. Again, we're learning to open up the hips a little bit here. Taking one more exhale. If you would like to, you can release that top arm all the way up and over. But see if you can do a gentle press of that left elbow on the inside of that left thigh, just to keep yourself secure, but not fully collapsing, if that makes sense. So keeping a nice bit of activation still here in the obliques. Take a nice deep breath in, return to center, draw the arms out wide, send the right fingertips down to the floor, and then the left hand's going to come up and over, little side bend to recover on the other side. Inhaling all the way up, drawing the feet together, coming back into Baddha Konasana or starting here. And take them away from you, so your feet aren't right underneath you. Take them away from you this time. Bring your hands to your shins or your ankles, grow tall as you inhale. And as you exhale, lean forwards, again hinging at the hips. So finding a nice long spine here. You might find that you feel more sensation down into the lower back if you do that, rather than rounding forwards. Taking one more breath cycle here. And then slowly rising all the way back up. Keeping your left foot where it is, right leg is going to extend out long. Other foot is just going to come down to relax. Knee can open a little bit more as well. Palms to heart center, pressing the palms in together, finding that activation in the shoulders. Inhaling, growing as tall as you can. Exhaling, bending over towards that extended leg. So we're not leaning on anything. It might help you to just press the hands together as you rise up. And then you exhale, bending over. Taking that a couple more times. See if you can find a nice little bit of activation in that right foot, toes pointing up towards the sky. And then this time bending over, slight press of the elbow against that inner thigh just to anchor you slightly. And then lifting that left hand and arm all the way up and over. Noticing any sensation down into the inside of that thigh, down into the lower back. Keeping that nice and active. And then drawing all the way up. Left fingertips over to the other side and take a nice little side bend over to the left. Inhaling all the way up. Coming back into your butterfly, your Baddha Konasana. This time drawing the feet a little bit closer to you. It doesn't have to be right underneath you, but closer than they were compared to the first time. Hands to the ankles or shins. Inhale, grow tall. And then exhale, hinging forwards at the hips. So your chest is reaching out. You're not even worried about your feet. Chest reaches out, long neck, long spine. And really breathe into the sensation, into the inner thighs. Maybe round to the glutes here. You might feel a sensation of stretch there. Breathing deeply. Taking one more inhale. One more exhale. And then slowly rising on your next inhalation. Let's lean back onto our hands just for a moment. Bring the knees up, soles of the feet on the floor, and take some windscreen wipers. This might be a bit tricky if you've got something underneath your bottom. Ooh. Taking them nice and wide, bending the knees, sending them over to one side, and then swapping over, sending them to the other side. Just a couple more times. You take it at the pace and depth of your choice. Nice. And then when you're ready, we're going to make our way over to our knees, onto all fours. And take a couple of cat-cows here. You might find that you want to take some circles or some rib isolations here, but if you're not sure what you're feeling today, then take some cat and cows. So as you inhale, drop the belly, lift the head, lift the heart, and exhale round. And if you did our little video with our plank pose last month, see if you can find that activation in the shoulders. So really drawing them together back behind you as you inhale, dropping that belly, pulling the chest forwards, and really separating the shoulder blades from each other as you press into the floor and round the upper back as you exhale. Taking one more cycle of breath, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. And then returning to a neutral spine, tucking the back toes, lifting those hips up and back to downward facing dog. And keep your knees nice and bent so you can send the hips up and back. I've got very sore legs today from my workout the other day, so my knees are very, very bent. Finding any movement that feels good here, that feels nourishing. Maybe you walk the legs out. Maybe you just pause and breathe. And then when you're ready, drawing the knees all the way back down to the floor. We're going to take our broken wing. So make your way down onto your front. Maybe you take the shift the hips forwards, send the elbows back and lower down to the ground. Maybe you just flop and plop down onto the floor. So our broken wing is our chest stretch. So this is going to be really good to help us feel open across the front of our chest when we reach our arms out wide in our warrior pose. So bring your right hand underneath your right shoulder. Your left arm is going to go out long, about shoulder height. And then we're going to lift our right foot towards our bottom, press into our right hand, and then use our right foot as a bit of a kickstand. So I'm rolling towards you. So I'm just going to show you on the other side so you can see what this looks like. I know this is a little bit of a confusing one. It's always difficult to teach and cue you on this. But you're kind of rolling on the front of your shoulder. Head can come down towards the floor. You can lift that hip back as much as you would like to. Remembering we've all got different capacity and mobility and flexibility in our shoulders. But see if you can really focus on getting a good stretch across the chest. Breathing into the front of that shoulder, the top of the pecs. And then slowly rolling all the way back. I'm going to take a little breather coming into Sphinx pose. And just bring the right foot in towards the right butt cheek. A nice little active stretch here. If you want to, you can reach back, grab hold of that foot or ankle and take a more passive stretch, so really pulling that foot in towards your bottom. Whatever feels best for you. Potentially is going to be quite an intensive stretch. Again, you may not be able to bring your foot down towards your bottom. And then slowly releasing. This time we're going to take our broken wing on to the other side. So coming back down, coming off your elbows, extending the right arm out beside you at shoulder height, bringing your left hand underneath your shoulder. Left foot to bottom, press into the left hand to allow yourself to roll over onto your right shoulder. So you've got the right shoulder pressed into the floor. Kickstand with that left leg. Feeling the sensation down into the chest, the front of the shoulder, maybe even the top of the arm. Taking a nice deep breath in. And then slowly coming back to center, bringing both elbows underneath you for Sphinx, and then drawing your left foot in towards your bottom. Again, keeping it a nice active stretch, keeping the hamstrings switched on. Whilst you're feeling a stretch sensation, pressing the front of the left hip down into the ground, or maybe making it a bit more passive, grabbing hold of that foot, pulling it in, but keeping the front of the pelvis really connected to the floor so you can feel that opening into the hips. And taking a nice deep breath in, and exhale to relax. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, roll the shoulders, press up through your height of cobra, and then exhale, come back through all fours, tuck the back toes, lift the hips up and back to your downward facing dog just for a moment, so we can walk the feet up towards the hands, top of the mat, bowing down, bowing forwards over your legs, Uttanasana, really allowing the head and the neck to be soft. My top is not playing ball today. Head and neck soft, nodding yes, shaking it no, maybe even ragdolling, okay, taking one elbow in each hand, swinging, swaying side to side. And then when you are ready, rising all the way up. I'm going to take a little quick Surya Namaskar, just to warm up the legs, just to warm up the body a little bit. So take a nice deep breath in. Come to stand at the top of your mat. Bring your hands to your heart. Inhale, arms come around and up. Exhale, hands down to heart, bending the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step back with the left foot into a lunge, drop the knee. Untuck the toe or keep them tucked, your choice. Inhale, arms up. And bring them wide. Reaching the arms as wide as you can. So you're kind of like this. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, framing that right foot. Tuck the back toe, lift the back knee. Press into the hands to set that right foot back to meet the left. Downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, rippling forwards through to our high plank, top of the push-up. We know what we're doing here. Knees down, shifting the hips and the weight forwards over the wrists. Elbows come back behind you and you lower the body down to the floor with control. Inhale, roll the shoulders, lift the chest through your height of cobra. Exhale, fold. Inhale, pressing up through all fours. Tuck the toes, lift the hips to dog. Taking any movement that feels good here. Maybe that walking out, maybe a swaying of the hips, maybe a bending of the knees. And then looking to your right wrist, to your left wrist, stepping your left foot forwards. Help it out if you need to. Helping out with the hand on the back of the calf, drawing it forwards. Right knee comes down. Inhale, rising up. for our low lunge. Exhale, allow the arms to draw open. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then inhale, arms up, floating down to your left foot. Tuck the back toe, lift the back knee, press into that right foot to step it forwards to meet the left. Coming back to the top of your mat in Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rising all the way up. Those palms meet above your head. And then draw down the center line, feeling that connection, pressing the palms together. Right, so we are ready to come to our Warrior Two pose. I'm just going to grab a swig of water because it's very warm in here. Ooh. So coming to your top of your mat. Now I want you to imagine a line that goes from the middle of the top of your mat all the way down to the other end. So you've got like a central line that splits your mat in two lengthwise. If you're not using a mat, see if you can imagine a nice straight line. So the traditional alignment for the Warrior Two pose is stepping onto this line. So both of your feet come into contact with this central line. So you might want to start with your feet close together, perhaps the heels slightly apart, the toes touching at the top of your mat. We're going to step back with our left leg. And in comparison to our Warrior One, which we explored last month, and your foot usually is about a 45-degree angle. So your toes are at a 45-degree angle and you're bending into that knee. It's very similar in Warrior Two, but actually our toes come to face the long edge of the mat. So just take a step back and see if you can find it around about in that center line. But what you're going to do is the center of the line, the center of the center line is in the center of your foot. So it's crossing transverse on your foot. So around about your heel is in line with the arch of your foot here. And just bend into that right knee. So comparison to Warrior One, again, when our hips were about 45 and we were kind of bringing the upper body forwards, we are fully side on. So our bodies are in line with the long edge of our mat. So our right knee is bending down and away, tracking, if possible, in a pretty straight line forwards. And our back heel is down, arch in line with the front heel. We're pressing again into the outside edge of that left foot. Our hips are facing one direction. Bending into that knee. Quite a lot of stretch sensation often here in the inner hips. This is why we've begun to warm them up already. Those arms come up, shoulder height. You can gaze over your front hand. You might find that you can bend into the knee a little bit more, getting more of a 90-degree angle. However, this might feel very tight in your hips. So you might find that you want to play around a little bit with the placement of that back foot. Maybe you bring it in, maybe you shorten your stance. That usually reduces the intensity of any sensation into the inner thighs. Perhaps you want to do what we did with the Warrior One, which was bring that foot a little bit closer towards the edge of that mat. So you're less on a complete straight line, you're more on a bit of a diagonal line. Again, slightly reducing the sensation, but see if you can still focus on having your hips facing in one direction rather than at a 45-degree angle. A little bit more tricky when the foot is further forwards. You might even want to bring it further back behind you. I mean, that is quite an intense position to be in, especially when you're trying to keep your hips square. But find what works best for you. As I said, it's traditional alignment. It doesn't necessarily work in everyone's body. So bending into that knee, Arms come wide. The traditional gaze, the drishti point, is the tip of your middle finger of that front hand. You might find that you would prefer to look a little bit further up or down. And again, we can change the energy of our yoga asana, our poses, with our gaze. But for now, just take a little look over that right finger. See if you're keeping your shoulders up near your ears. Allow them, maybe take a shoulder roll, allow them to relax back down and draw the shoulder blades together. So you're finding that nice open space across the front of the chest, pulling the shoulder blades back, feeling good. Core, let's get that activated. Again, ribs pulling down towards the hip bones. So we're not flaring our ribs. We're really controlled, contracted in, finding that strength. Beautiful. See how that feels? Perhaps it's quite different to how you normally practice your warrior two. Let's cartwheel those arms down towards the floor, just to take a little break. Press into the hands. Step that right foot back to meet the left just for a second. Bring the knees down, take them wide, toes together, and sit back into your child's pose. Just pausing here for a moment, allowing yourself to just breathe. Maybe take some deep breaths out through the mouth. Maybe you prop your head up with your hands. And then when you are ready, rising all the way back up through all fours, tucking the back toes, lifting the hips, and then walking the toes all the way back to the front of your mat, coming down into Uttanasana once again. Inhale, rising, the arms come around and up. And exhale, hands to heart. I'm just going to swap sides so you can see me. And this time, you might want to do the same depending on how you're watching this. This time we're going to step back with the right foot. So again, we've got that central line which we're aiming for initially. We can make adjustments once we are there. So thinking about that center line, sending that right foot back behind you, 90-degree angle, toes face the long edge, your left foot toes are facing the short edge. Heel around about in line with the arch of your foot. Nice press into the outer edge so that arch is nice and lifted and you feel strong on your back foot. You're not sort of collapsing into that knee. You've got that sense of openness and strength. Bending into that left knee. Again, tracking forwards over the big toe. Feeling the hips open. Again, maybe you lengthen your stance, maybe you shorten it. Try bringing the foot forwards, taking it back. Find what feels the best for you and your body. No one's hips are the same. You might find that your left hip is very different to your right hip. Our bodies are all different. They're not made to be exactly the same. So really find that sense of connection with the floor, pulling up through the thighs. Maybe a slight clench of the glute as well. Drawing hips to ribs, finding that core contraction, that core connection, that sense of pulling up into some midline here, and then reaching those arms out wide, shoulder height. Again, playing around with the gaze if you want to, but my advice today is just to feel this posture, feel this asana, just looking over the top of your left middle finger. Maybe you want to bend down, drop down further towards the earth. See if you can feel that connection with the shoulders behind you. Reaching those fingertips out. Pressure into the outside of that right foot. Down into the heel of your left. And then when you are ready, cartwheeling those arms down. Again, stepping back just for a second into dog so that you can bring the knees wide, toes together, coming back down into Balasana. Then maybe you make a pillow for your head. Maybe you drop the forehead all the way down to the floor. Extending the arms out long. Taking some nice deep breaths. Maybe even a little wiggle of your hips here, if that feels good for you. And then when you are ready, rising up through all fours. Bring the knees both onto one side so you can send the hips in the opposite direction. Just swing your legs round and make your way down onto the floor, onto your back, bringing your knees in with you. Taking a little circle. Let's cross our right leg over our left. So our ankle is crossed on top, opening out our right knee, and just extend that left leg as well. You might find that you're here, you might be far more flexible than I am, but just a double whammy stretch here. So a nice little glute stretch round to the outer edge of that thigh. Perhaps you just place your right palm on the inside of your knee, whilst we're also getting a nice active left leg, pressing the heel up towards the ceiling. Get a bit of a hamstring stretch as well. Taking one more cycle of breath here. And then releasing, quick hug in of the knees. And then swapping over. So crossing left ankle over right thigh. Extending the right foot. Pressing the sole of the foot, the heel up towards the sky, really opening into the back of the leg, the hamstrings. Opening out the left knee, maybe gentle hand on the inside of that knee, opening up into the thigh, into the glutes, outer hip. One full cycle of breath. And then releasing down. Nice big hug of the knees into the chest, maybe even lifting your forehead to it. And then permission to flop. Permission to rest, extending the legs out long or keeping the knees bent, touching one another. And allowing your whole body to release, relax. Feel like it's going to dissolve into the floor beneath you. Breathing nice and deeply, allowing the body to be soft and the breath to be even softer. And as always, the permission is there to lie in your position of choice, of rest, for as long as your heart desire. And if you're ready to get on with the rest of your day, evening, whatever you're doing this video, let's bring the knees into the chest. Lie over onto one side and press yourself all the way up back to seated. Whatever comfortable seated position you find today, bringing your hands into the center of your chest in Anjali Mudra, pressing those palms together, maybe even bowing the head slightly. Thanking yourself for your practice, thanking each other and this beautiful space and community in which we can practice together. And as always, thanking the wisdom and the teachings of yoga, including our Virabhadrasana, our warrior and warrior two pose, to guide us and show us the way. From my heart to yours, thank you, thank you, thank you.